All right, so for my project, I'm going to be talking about why being forced to take certain classes at school is like pretty useless and ineffective. I definitely agree with the opinion that students should have to take certain classes in high school because like broadens their like knowledge and like makes them think about things in a different way. But in college, honestly, I think a lot of students know what they want to do and like what their passions really are, and like maybe in high school you don't really know that, but I think once you get to college you kind of start to get an idea of what you kind of want to do. But yeah, so my academic career, like I've had plenty of classes that are very useful, but I've also had plenty of classes that I really think didn't do anything, didn't benefit me in any way. In TCU, honestly, like I have had plenty of classes that have been very beneficial to me, even the ones I didn't think would be very beneficial to start. But it's classes like calculus, and rock to Bach, just like those are the things, the types of classes that I think are like very useless. Like calculus, I'm sure if you're like a math major or whatever, I'm sure that's very important to know calculus, and like you should like take that, but you shouldn't have to be forced to take that, if that makes sense. And like rock to Bach, I feel like rock to Bach could be a useful class or beneficial, but we've been like learning about stuff where like different rappers and like hip hop artists and like how they like produce their songs, how they make their music, but not really like the history behind it. And like I think if they like added that to the class, even like it would be more beneficial. Like even if they like talked about how those rappers and artists came about and like how they like do their business with their music, that could be like very useful. I know that my archaeoastronomy class actually was very beneficial, even though I didn't think it'd be really useful, but I thought we'd just be learning about kind of like the science of everything in space, and like archaeoastronomy is like the study of rocks in space. And I thought it'd be just like this boring science class, but my teacher, and it was in person, which was definitely like a big part of it. But we would get in the class and he'd turn off all the lights, and we'd do like a history lesson of like some of the stars that are in like the solar system. And I thought that was like really awesome. It made me actually like interested in space, and now like I can like tell my friends certain things about space that like that's interesting to me. I just like think that there's so many just classes that are so baseline and don't give that like extra and like not even information, but just like knowledge, like doesn't give their like this like certain knowledge to their students that would be beneficial. So I definitely disagree with some of that. So next I kind of want to address like the main argument of why kids in college should have to take all these certain classes. And like the main argument you see behind it is that like it broadens their knowledge in a way, and makes them think about things differently, makes them learn in different ways, and like makes them have to like work in different ways. And like classes that are more like group involved, it teaches you how to like work in a group, and like I totally get that, totally understand that. But at the end of the day, like we're paying so much money to go to school, and in high school that's okay, because high school you're not paying any money unless you're going to a private school. But I went to a public school, and I think in high school it's definitely okay because you're not paying the $70,000 to go to the school, which is just crazy. Like college is just wildly expensive. But like I think a lot of kids, they know a lot of kids that I know at least know what they want to do with their life, like after college, kind of have a good idea of like the pathway they want to go down, even if they don't know exactly what they want to do. And so those kids, I think, it'd be really beneficial to be able to pick their own classes and like not have to take these classes like rock to Bach, survey of theater, calculus, because I think if they're focused on what they want to do and they're only learning about stuff that they want to do, it's gonna set them better off when they like go into the real world and like have to get a job and stuff, because they're gonna have all that knowledge. And sometimes other classes distract you from like your classes that you would say are like more important. But I know that like a lot of the classes that I take, most of the classes that I take, that are I would consider useless, sometimes are like harder than the classes that I have to take for my major. And I actually want to be like learning the things that apply to my major, and the classes that I'm forced to take, I don't care about. Like I go to class and I don't really pay attention because it's not like something I care about. And I just think there's so many students like that, just kind of want to like learn what they need to know for their given pathway, their respective career pathway. And I don't know, I just think that if we were able to do that, it would set us off a lot better, and we wouldn't have to focus on these other classes that honestly just get in the way of our other classes that are, that we consider important for what we want to do. And yeah. So lastly, I kind of want to talk about how I think students should, be assigned classes, not even like assigned classes. Like I think students should be able to pick their own classes when they get to college. I think there should honestly be like some sort of like hub or social media communication like network that shows what classes are actually like useful, what classes you just take for the grade. Because like so many kids I know just study and learn material just to get a grade on the test, and like they actually don't really learn the material. They just do it for the test, and right after that test is done, they forget it. And so I think that like what's the point of doing that if we're not going to retain any of the information after the fact? Like we want to walk away with a wide array of knowledge, a broadened sense of knowledge. I don't understand why we would be forced to take these classes that provide none of that, because no one cares about them. And like even like certain classes, like I said previously, archaeoastronomy, like it actually taught us something important. Like it taught us things that interested us. And like there are classes that don't apply to my major. Like for example, this class, I don't have to take this for my major. TCU requires us to take it, and I'm not gonna lie, I probably wouldn't have taken this class before if I didn't know like how beneficial it would be. But I know like classes like this, like Comp 2, and especially with you, who like actually teach us life lessons, and like prepare us for the real world. And it's like no BS, it's just you want us to learn, you want us to think in a different way. And like classes like that are very useful. And I think there should be some sort of way where students can know if these classes are useful, and if that makes sense, like maybe some sort of platform that students can talk on and discuss what classes they thought were super useful that didn't apply to their major, but they still had to take. And that's just something that I think would help a lot of students and like definitely make a college experience better. Because I think it's just useless for kids to just be studying for these tests that they just want an A on. They don't care about learning the material. Like this class in like my previous English classes before, like I cared about learning the material because I know I'm gonna have to write a lot for my career path. Like I'm gonna have to be able to like write properly and write in like different ways. And like I just think classes like this really help with that, and really although they don't apply to my major, they're still very beneficial to me like in the long run. And so I definitely think there should be a way, TCU should maybe have a certain like hub where students can go and like talk about things like that. But right now, like picking classes is ridiculous. Like you have to take these certain classes and fulfill a certain amount of hours and credits for each given subject or whatever, and classes like fill up, and so you can't even take some of the classes that you want to take, which is crazy to me. And it's just like it's just a poor system, honestly. Like choosing classes is probably one of the most, it's one of the most stressful times, I would say, like throughout the year. Like even in finals, like I'm not even as stressed like studying for my finals as I am like trying to get like into certain classes, because it's just so hectic and everyone's trying to get into the same classes because they know so many other classes are useless and aren't going to benefit them in any way. So they're all trying to like take these same classes, and it doesn't work because TCU and other schools can't fit 1,000 kids in the classroom, and like I just think there should be another way, and like maybe even if we can like choose our own classes, I just think like if I could take all business classes right now, I would maybe like an English class too, and something like a communication class I think will be very important, like a public speaking class. That would be like definitely beneficial to most majors. So yeah, I definitely think that needs to change, but I hope that you kind of got a sense of what I think about the schooling system, preferably like college. Like I think that there's just a lot of things that universities do poorly that I think they could fix if they just let their students take what classes they wanted to take for their given major. So yeah, thank you.